Hi everyone. So today I would like to explain about part one, foundations for classroom practice, and chapter two, a century of language teaching, from Teaching by Principles book by Douglas Brown. So let's get started. Okay, first, what do we do? What do we mean by method? First, before we going further, to avoid any further confusion, we'll use some common terms in the following way. First, methodology. This is the pedagogical practices in general. Whatever considerations are involved in how to teach are methodological. And then approach. Theoretical positions and beliefs about teaching, language learning, learners, institutional and social factors, purposes of a course, and the applicability of all to specific educational contexts. And then method. This is a set of classroom specification for accomplishing linguistic objectives, and methods tend to identify the teacher and student's role linguistic and the subject matter objectives, sequencings, and materials. And then for the curriculum, this is specifications for carrying out a particular language program. Features include the primary concern with linguistic and subject matter objectives, sequencing, and material to meet the needs of a designed group of learners in a defined context. And then we have a technique. This is any of a wide variety of exercises, activities, procedures, or tasks used in the language classroom for realizing lesson objectives. First, and then about the early years. For centuries, there were few, if any, theoretical foundations of language learning upon which to base teaching methodology. The first is the classical method. This is a teacher-centered with memorizations of grammatical rules and vocabulary, translation of text, and written exercises. And the classical method was adopted as the chief means for teaching foreign languages. Little thought was given at the time to teaching someone how to speak the language, and after all, languages were not being taught primarily to learn oral communication, but to learn for the sake of being scholarly or for gaining reading proficiency. And by the late 19th century, the classical method came to be known as the grammar translation method, and the characteristics are classes are taught in the student's L1 or the native language, and then attention is given to list of isolated vocabulary and grammar rules, and then reading is given almost exclusive focus with related grammatical analysis, and then translation exercises also performed, and then little or no attention is given to oral production. And then next about the Green Series method. This method was backgrounded by an experience when Green found that his nephew succeeded so easily in learning first language. And the series method is a method that taught learners directly without translation and conceptually without grammatical rules and explanations, and a series of connected sentences that are easy to perceive. And then next we have the direct method and audiolingual method. We have already learned about this on a previous video, and the basic premise of the direct method was that foreign language learning should be more like first language learning, and lots of oral interaction, spontaneous of the language, no translation between first and second language, and little or no analysis of grammatical rules. And then for the audiolingual method, the characteristics of this method are a great deal of oral activity, pronunciation drills, pattern practice, and exercises in rudimentary conversations with virtually none of the grammar and translations found in traditional classes. And then we moved into the designer method era. And these designer methods soon were marketed by entrepreneurs as the latest applications of the disciplinary research findings of the day. The designer methods era includes several methods. There are community language learning. This is inspired by Rogers Carl Curran in 1972 and 1976 regarded students as a community of learners and raised our awareness of the social dynamics of classrooms. As students and teachers joined together in a team effort, participants lowered their defenses and uh, potential anxiety by means of a supportive classroom community. And then we have Suggestopedia. The human brain could process great quantities of a material if given the right conditions for learning, among which are a state of relaxations and giving over of control to the teacher. And then the silent way. The silent way was characterized by a problem-solving approach to learning, and that we have total physical response and the natural approach. The total physical response through in part of principles of child language acquisitions, namely that children learning their native language appear to do a lot of listening before they speak, and that their listening is accompanied by physical responses such as reaching, grabbing, moving, looking, and so forth. And then the dawning of a new era. The methods in the dawning of a new era include uh, notional functional syllabus. The notional functional syllabus focus on the pragmatic purposes to which we put language. Notions, according to Van Eyck and Alexander 1975, are both general and specific. General notions are abstract concepts such as existence, space, time, quantity, and quality. They are domains in which we use language to express thought and feeling. The functional part of the notion functional syllabus corresponded to language functions, and curricula were organized around such functions as identifying, reporting, denying, accepting, declining, asking permission, and apologizing. And then the last we have communicative language teaching. It is an approach that encourages real-life communication in the classroom. It aims to develop linguistic fluency and not just the accuracy that once consumed its methodological predecessors. Okay, so that's all about the chapter 2, and thank you for your attention and see you.